Right, you welcome back once again to this class, and then today we'll be talking about the teaching method every modern teachers must know. Of course, I know majority of us we are teachers in training as well. We have some already teachers already in service who are with us, but we just want to look at some of those ways to improve our teaching skill so that we can create more engaging, effective, and 21st century classroom. Like I said, our target is not for anything. It's just for us to see the transformation we want in Nigerian classroom. And I think the best way to do that is to keep reminding us how the best approach to make our class interesting for students. So in this comprehensive guide, we'll be looking at some of the 15 powerful research-based teaching methods that every modern educator should master. And these teaching strategies are practical, easy to apply, and designed to help you transform your classroom. Whether you teach in early childhood, those in secondary school or primary school or junior secondary school, at what level you are, you will definitely discover those methods you have been using, even some that are not well known to us. I know the common one that we normally know is that of teacher center method, maybe the talk play away method and the like, but I'm talking about the 21st century teaching method. So I'll be walking you through the 15 uh, powerful research-based teaching method that we have identified here. So I'll be talking about direct instruction, student-centered learning approach, uh, differentiated instruction, technology-enhanced learning, and what we call project-based learning, that is PBL, inquiry-based learning, collaborative learning, flipped classroom, problem-based learning, gamification, blended learning, peer teaching. There is something we call scaffolding and the like. So those are those things we'll be looking at in this class today. I just want to be sure, please, for those that are with me online, if you can hear me clearly, can you just put it in the comment section? If you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, let me see. You can comment yes in the comment section. If you can hear me clearly, you can comment yes in the comment section. If you can hear me clearly, you can comment yes in the comment section. If you can hear me clearly, you can comment yes in the comment section. If you can hear me clearly, just comment. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Oladipupo. Thank you, those that can hear me clearly. That's fine. So let me walk you through some of these 15 teaching method. Of course, in our previous video, when we are talking about instructional objective, you see that when we are talking about instructional objective, even when we move on to lesson plan, we start talking about teaching method, teaching approach, some of the approach you can use in the class to make your class interesting for students, to make learning to take place in your class. Anything you do that supports the learning process in your class, that is what we call the teaching approach. So in 21st century, it's required for more than just delivering content. And that's what I said in a previous video, that is another thing for you to master the content, another thing for you to know the exact method you are to use with your students in the class. So I'll be walking you through those 15 teaching approach that we have here. So therefore, what is teaching method? Like I said, teaching method is a systematic, intentional approach a teacher uses to guide learners towards achieving learning outcome. Don't forget that everything we have been talking about, everything still boils around the learning outcome. So that means your work as a teacher, everything you are doing as a teacher is for that learning outcome in your class. What do you want to achieve at the end of the day? So a teaching method is therefore a systematic and intentional approach a teacher uses to guide learners towards achieving learning outcome. And of course, in this 21st century, there are a lot of methods that have come into the method of teaching, especially in Nigerian context. Not even in Nigerian context this time around. We are talking about globally. So effective teachers must know multiple teaching methods and apply them flexibly, depends on these four things. So for you to use any method of teaching, you must consider the following things. Number one, you have to consider the subject you are teaching. The method of teaching you are going to use to teach physics is different from the method of teaching you are going to use to teach literature. So you also need to consider the learner's age and ability. The learner's age and ability is very important, because the method you are going to use, the method of teaching you are going to use with the students in primary 4 will be different from the method you are going to use with the students in SS1. You have to consider their age and their ability. Then likewise, available resources. Yes, there are some method now. Maybe you are talking about any method that has to do with digital tools. You cannot make use of them where there are no electricity, where there are no alternative to power, either electricity, or you are using solar, or you are using inverter, or whatever you want to use. So available resources sometimes determine the method you use with your student. Then the fourth one is the learning objective. Your learning objective sometimes will determine the method of teaching you want to use. So therefore, I'm going to share some of these core methods of teaching that are essential for you as a teacher. So the first one I'll be talking about is direct instruction. Direct instruction. The first method I'll be talking about is direct instruction. Direct instruction. So what is direct instruction? Direct instruction is also the one we call a structured teacher-led approach. A structured teacher-led approach. Direct instruction is a method where the teacher clearly explain, demonstrate, guide learners through new knowledge or new skill. Maybe you are taking them for new learners or new skill. You have to use direct instruction. So this method is ideal when teaching foundational facts or procedure or structure content. So there are some key features you have to see before you know that you are using direct instruction. The first one is that you have a clear objective, a step-by-step explanation, then teacher model. Maybe you tell them, please watch me the way I'm doing this thing now. So the way they were watching you and you are doing that, that is a direct instruction. Then we also have the guided practice. It's also part of direct instruction. You can use that. Okay, look at what I'm doing now. Can you do it like this? Can you pull this thing like this? That is a direct instruction. Then independent practice. Now you can, after you have give them a direct instruction, now let them try it on their own. That is a direct instruction. Where can we use direct instruction? Direct instruction can be used in mathematics class. Maybe you are talking about addition, subtraction. You tell them that if I had 2 plus 2, it's going to give me 4. So now, what if you add 3 plus 3? You know, you are now asking them question now. They will now say 6. Why is your own 2 plus 2 is equal to 4? Because you count 2 in 2 places. That is why it is 4. So likewise, you tell them that they should count 3 in how many places? Yes, 3 plus 3. Maybe you ask them to count 3 plus what? Plus 3. That is 3 in 2 places as well. So that is going to give them what? 6. So that's a direct instruction. Another place where direct instruction can also work is in basic science. Maybe plant, part of a plant or state of a matter. Maybe you want to tell them, you draw a plant for them, maybe in your basic science lab, and you want to show them these are the parts of a plant. And you are telling them, what is this? This is called this is called that, this is called this. And maybe in a few minutes later, you now ask them, what is this place called? They will tell you this. There is no way. They can't change that. It's a standard rule. So therefore, you are using a direct instruction. You can also use it in English as well. Maybe you talk about grammar rules. You talk about grammar rules. What is a verb? A verb is an action word. There's nothing can change in a verb. A verb is always an action word. Take it to anywhere in the world. So in that class, you are using direct instruction, or you want to train them reading skill. You read a comprehensive. You now want them to read again. It's not possible for them to be pronouncing comprehensive as another thing entirely. They have to pronounce comprehensive as comprehensive, just like the way you pronounce it. So in that wise, you are using a direct instruction. So let's look at what level can direct instruction work for. Direct instruction can work for students from primary 4 to 6, or maybe S1 to 3. So invariably, any student from primary 4 upward, you can use direct instruction with them. So you cannot use direct instruction with children at elementary school, or at primary 1, or at nursery section, because learners at this stage, they still require a kind of structure. So you can use direct instruction there. Then the second method of teaching is student-centered learning approach. A student learning-centered approach, the learner becomes active participant, because in that place, you want to stand as a facilitator, while your learner will explore, will curate, will question, will also collaborate. So in a student-centered learning approach, you as a teacher, you are going to serve as a facilitator, because in that place, one of the core characteristics of a student-centered learning approach is that students express their idea. You want their own idea. You want them to get involved in the teaching. So when you are using such approach, you are using student-centered learning. So they also choose the task or the method they want. Maybe after you taught them something, you want them to teach others in the class. They are going to apply their own method. They can come up with, okay, we are going to use this. Okay, if you tell them that 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, how did they get it? 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. They can say, okay, 2 plus 2 plus 2. While another person can say, okay, 2 multiplied by 3 is 3 in 2 places. So, and that is why we call it student-centered. One of the benefits of a student-centered learning approach is that it promotes independent thinking, because you are more or less as empowering the student. You are empowering them to be independent on their own. So it also increases motivation. It builds problem solving and communication skill, because at that moment they have to sharpen their communication skill, because at that moment you are leaving them to do some tasks on their own among their peers. And examples of that is that maybe learning station, or student-led weekly reflection, or interest-based meaning project. Maybe you give them a project and you ask them to do that. So at that moment, they will be using what we call student-centered learning approach. So where can it work? Student learning approach, student-centered learning approach can work as well at upper primary level. It can also work in junior secondary. It can work in senior secondary. Maybe in the areas of English language or anything language, be it Yoruba language or French language, when they were doing oral discussion or they were doing debate, at that moment they will be discussing with each other, coming up with different ideas. So that's at that moment you are actually using what we call student-centered learning. So the third method of teaching is what we call differentiated instruction. Differentiated instruction, it recognizes students diverse in ability. Students with different ability. We have students that are low learners. We have some that are middle learners. We have some that are fast learners. It depends on their readiness, their learning style. So in that way, once you observe that the students in your class, they are low student learners ability and they are high learners ability, you have to use what we call differentiated instruction. So what is differentiated instruction? One of those ways to differentiate that is through the content, the process, and the product. The content, what the student learn, what did they want to learn? How did they learn it? Those people you call low learner, how did they learn it? Did they learn it by somebody leading them to do something? Or they learn it by showing them example or something like that? So that is a differentiated learning. That is learning that has to do with students with different ability, readiness, and learning style, and their interest of learning. So where can differentiated learning style work? Of course, it works in a large classes with a mixed ability, maybe in a conventional school, in a school where we have students with special needs. They were mixing with normal students. So in that place, you have to use what we call differentiated learning method. It can also work in mathematics class. It can work in English class. It can also work in science practical, especially for junior secondary school. So differentiated learning approach can work across all levels because we learn at different pace. So the fourth one is technology enhanced learning. Technology enhanced learning. This become another method of teaching entirely because we are in technology age. So technology enhanced learning is just like something that involves students using phones, students using tablet, students using projector, students using video or simulation or any learning platform to aid learning. Anytime you use that, you are using technology enhanced learning. And there are useful tools for technology enhanced learning. One of the useful tools is that what is it called? Kahoot. Kahoot. I don't know if you know Kahoot before. These are some of the platforms where you assess students. So that is a technology enhanced learning. You have already taught them something and you want to test their knowledge, and you quickly give them like a quiz or any interactive quizzes. So you are using technology enhanced learning. Then we can also make use of Google Classroom. Maybe you bring them up together on a Google Classroom or the module. So you are using technology enhanced learning. So what are the benefits of technology enhanced learning? One of it is that it increases engagement. Yes, it increases engagement. It increases student engagement. It supports diverse learning style. It provides instant feedback for you as a teacher. You get the feedback truly. Then it also prepares students for a digital world. It prepares them for a digital world. So technology enhanced learning approach can work in an ICT class. It can work in science in the areas of simulation. It can also work in literature class. Instead of you giving them the whole novel to read, you can just play a video to them and ask them to tell you what they learned from the video. Then it can also work in mathematics class as well. Then the fifth approach is what we call project-based learning. Project-based learning. I want to be sure if you can hear me clearly. Yes, the only person that is still with us, I want to be sure you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, let me know. Let me know from the comments. Let me know. If you can hear me clearly, let me know. If you can hear me clearly, let me know. If you can hear me clearly, let me know. So that I won't just be talking. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. In the comment section, let me know if you can hear me clearly. So let me know if you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, let me know. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. So let me know if you can hear me clearly. Okay, that's fine. So the next one is let me move to the next one. We are done with technology enhanced learning approach. So let me move to project based. I want to be sure. Okay, let me move on to the project based learning. A project based learning involves students working on a meaningful project that relate to real life problem. So at that moment, students, research, they plan, they create, and they present solution. So it's just like when you bring a problem up and you ask them to find a solution to that. And at that moment, learning is. In that wise, you are using what we call project-based learning. You are using what we call project-based learning. One of the characteristics of a project-based learning is that it focuses on real-world issues. So at that place, so students make decision and their choices. So students can work together. They can also end with a presentation by telling you what they have learned in the class and other things they have done in that class. So I'm going to stop on these 5 methods. This video is going to be in theory because I talk about 15 method of teaching. So I will do the first 5 now. In our next video, you see the next 5, and the third video, you also see the last 5. So if you are joining for the first time, try to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also share the video with others. So thank you, and God bless you all.